Welcome in, Cuse Nation, inside the Carrier Dome as the Syracuse Orange are off the hiatus. Back to basketball we go in Central New York, and the Syracuse Orange play host to the Pitt Panthers today. A 4:30 tip-off inside the Carrier Dome. It's ACC basketball, and it's here on Orange Sheet. I'm Giovanni Heater alongside Kyle Marchak. Kyle, how you doing today? We got some basketball, and we're back.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad to be back with new mics and everything. It's going to be a high-quality production. Thank you for having me on. Really nothing better than some ACC basketball, Gio.
Absolutely, and we are underway inside the Dome. Quincy Guerrier wins the opening tip back to Buddy Boeheim, and Joe Girard takes it up the court for Syracuse. The story today, the Orange were supposed to play against Florida State. That was on the schedule as of a couple days ago. Now, Florida State experienced some difficulties with COVID-19 related issues in their locker room as Alan Griffin hits a three from deep to get the Orange going early. And Florida State had some issues with COVID-19. They have to drop out of the contest, and Syracuse throws Pittsburgh right on the schedule. So excited to be here. A nice later portion of the Big East run for Syracuse. They had some nice rivalry games with the Pittsburgh Panthers, and then they joined each other in the Atlantic Coast Conference years later as well. So a good one. There's history between these two teams, and we're just excited to have basketball back here in Syracuse.
Yeah, and right off the bat, the first thing I noticed is that Girard's in the game. So obviously, following some poor performances, Kadar Richmond's played well in replacement of Girard, even in some wins. But it's good to see that Boeheim's trusting his guard.
And there's Alan Griffin hitting back-to-back triples, getting the Orange going early. 6-0 is your score, 18:52 left. Alan Griffin has scored 20 or more points in 4 of the last 5 games wearing a Syracuse jersey. So a great pickup for the Orange, an Illinois transfer. And the story for Pittsburgh on the other side of the ball. Champagny not able to play today. He's their star guard, and he's suffering from a leg injury as Alan Griffin pulls down a rebound, pass up the court. Quincy Guerrier, dish to the right side. Corner three for Buddy Boeheim, rattled around for a minute and rebounded by the Panthers. And they'll say that the foot of Johnson was out of bounds. Xavier Johnson, the junior out of Woodbridge, Virginia, couldn't keep it in. And Syracuse will take the possession, leading at 6-0. But the Panthers without Champagny, and then it was unannounced as to who it would be, but they're also without a total of 3 scholarship players today due to COVID-19 related issues. So definitely going to be a difficult outing for the Pitt Panthers, and Syracuse really getting fed a little bit of a softball here. What are your thoughts, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to go back and forth, but I think, Boeheim's looking sharp off the bat, just with movement. Obviously hasn't gotten a ton of shots up, but, good to see Griffin making a change early. And that's actually one of my keys to the game is the 3-point shooting, which has been really poor lately. Boeheim's supposed to be our guy from the arc, but it's good to see that Griffin's feeling a little bit of touch early. That'll be good, especially for guys both teams coming off hiatuses where they're going to look a little bit sloppy. So some of the small things like being able to hit open shots will be extremely important tonight.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more as this one goes out of bounds off the Panthers once again. There will be 20 seconds on the shot clock. Girard rebound into Alan Griffin and a foul on the floor off the ball. So we'll head the other way. It'll be Pittsburgh ball. The foul was on Alan Griffin off the inbound. So 6-0 is your score, 18-10 left in the first half of action. And the Panthers have yet to find themselves on the scoreboard through 2 minutes of play. Johnson pass to the inside, taken away by Marek Dolezaj. Nobody around him. Girard now up to Boeheim. Boeheim, a fast break score and count it from 3-point distance. It's a 9-0 run and a 9-0 opener for the Syracuse Orange as Boeheim gets himself on the scoreboard after the Dolezaj steal.
Yeah, burning hot start. His toe might have touched the line. I'm sure they're going to review it, but nonetheless, stop and a big pull-up right there. Boeheim, once again, supposed to be a guy who's going to hit shots from the arc, and he's starting it off early.
Couldn't agree with you more, Marchak. 9-0 is the lead as of right now for Syracuse. 17:50 left to play. Girard almost lost it. Now it's Guerrier driving on the left side. Guerrier puts up a shot, and they'll call an offensive foul against Quincy Guerrier. So not how you like that possession to go if you're Syracuse. Just a little bit too much of a bump. Boeheim's letting him know it. And Quincy Guerrier, Marchak, has really been the most consistent player on this Syracuse basketball team. Him and maybe Merrick Dolezaj as a pull-up from the inside, rattles around, no good. Rebound, Alan Griffin. Griffin now up to Boeheim. Boeheim driving into the lane. Spins around, gets it to Alan Griffin. Griffin a floater, and this one is no problem. Down on the block, 11-0 is the score inside the dome. Time out, Pittsburgh. 17:26 left on the clock. The Orange starting early.
Yeah, not necessarily a burning hot start from Syracuse, but rather a really ice cold start from Pittsburgh, where, one of my keys to the game for them is obviously going to be ball movement. And, Nike Sabande is replacing Champagne tonight, and he's supposed to be a guy who can really move the ball. And of course, Xavier Johnson is their assist leader at 5.1 per game. And again, he's been struggling to get the ball to the inside. It seems they're trying to trust their centers a little bit too much, who have also been trying to move the ball around, but just very sloppily. So obviously, just these small hiatuses have not done well for either teams, but Syracuse just looking like the sharper sword right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Syracuse has only missed one shot so far since the game has started. It was a Buddy Boeheim triple, and then he goes out and hits another one. So the Orange definitely off to a quick start, and that was kind of the worry going into this game after the hiatus, because they weren't able to play for almost 2 weeks. It was a 14-day quarantine. New York dropped it down to 10, so the Orange were able to practice 4 days earlier than originally expected, and they've come out streaking so far. So Pittsburgh sharing the ball well. Johnson now at the top of the key. Now it's Ethel Horton driving on the left side. A shot is up and good. So count it. Horton for three from downtown. 11-3 is the score. 17:01 left to play here inside the dome in the first half of action. Girard taking it up the court. Off to Alan Griffin, top of the key. Griffin some fancy dribbling. Gets it up. Top of the key once again. Dolezaj now a driving Girard. Pulls up from just inside the three-point arc. This time off the mark, no good, but an offensive rebound chased after for Buddy Boeheim. Pump fake Girard. Girard a drive to the inside. He's able to draw the contact and the foul, but it looks like it's offensively, and it will go against number 11 in orange. So Syracuse, that's 2 offensive fouls off of a drive. The refs not letting them play, and Pittsburgh doing a good job of getting their feet set.
That's a good play from the defender right there, getting his feet set outside of the arc and taking it in. But, nonetheless, it's still a bright spot right there for Syracuse to see a guy in Girard not sit at the arc and really try and drive the ball right there. So hopefully he'll continue to do that tonight.
11-3 is the lead still for Syracuse. 16 seconds left on the shot clock for Pittsburgh. Horton at the top of the key, possessing the ball. 16 left to go on the clock. Lets a three fly from deep off the back rim and out. Rebound, Joe Girard up to Buddy Boeheim on the left wing. Back up to Girard. 3 from the top of the key, off the front rim. No good. And rebounded by the Panthers going up the court. Horton tried to be there, and Boeheim got a hand on it, tips it out of bounds. So good reach from Buddy Boeheim defensively as he's getting back set into the 2-3 zone. But it's off his hands, and Pittsburgh will keep this possession alive momentarily. Again, 11-3 is the lead for Syracuse. 16:02 left to go here in the first half. Dish to the inside, 2-pointer, off the mark, no good. Alan Griffin, a rebound for Syracuse, taking it up the court, gets it tipped away. Now nearly a steal on the other end of the court, and now it is. It looks like it's Johnson taking it to the cup, off the glass, no good. Rebound, and putback is money. That time for the Panthers, it's Abdul Kareem Koulibaly. And he gets his first bucket of the game. Missed the last couple, but he was in there that time to put one up and in. So the Pitt Panthers now on a 5-0 run, Marchak.
Yeah, Koulibaly. Nice play right there, getting it up and in. 6'8", 215. He's a big guy at his position, obviously, just being a forward. Similar size to Guerrier, really. And so that's a good play. But at the end of the day, both teams looking really slow in transition right now. You can kind of tell that, COVID's really done its toll on both teams. Obviously, we're still figuring out those couple other players that are scholarship guys who are unable to play with Pittsburgh today. Of course, we do not have that feeding in our earpieces, doing this from home. But nonetheless, we'll see how that impact plays out later today.
No, absolutely. And, again, that was something that was held close to the chest. It was not released at all throughout the week. That was something that, you don't want to give your competitor an advantage if you're Pittsburgh. You don't want to give Syracuse any less guys to have to prepare for. So they held that close to their chest. It wasn't known until the starting lineups were put out, and still not really known because, coaches can be certainly mixing things around. So as soon as we have that information, we'll try and get it to you. but Pitt without 3 scholarship players. One of those scholarship players being Champagne, who is not out due to COVID. He's on the sideline, but it's due to a leg injury. So interesting to see how Jeff Capel is going to handle this. Head coach of the Pitt Panthers, a former Duke assistant coach under Mike Krzyzewski, really panning out and getting the head reins of his own program at Pittsburgh, and has really done a nice job with this squad because they've been in the mix the last couple of years, Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, there's a deep history in almost every coach that coaches in the ACC. Obviously, Syracuse, they go back to the Big East, and there's even more coaches there to look at as well. So it's always fun to see these ACC matchups now that we're finally in season for conference ball. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of this playing out. But for now, they got to handle the Pittsburgh Panthers.
And what a weird tip-off time here in Syracuse, 4:30 on a Wednesday afternoon. We'll take it. I'm not complaining whatsoever. But just an interesting tip-off time. We've had a couple of those this year, and that's what COVID-19 will bring you. And then have another game for Syracuse. We'll be bringing you Saturday night, the Orange against Georgetown. The good old rivalry inside the Dome, taking on the Hoyas. Patrick Ewing, new head coach of Georgetown the last couple of seasons, really trying to turn that program around. What it used to be in the old Big East days really isn't what it is now. And you could say the same for Syracuse. And then tonight, Virginia Tech and Louisville for ACC basketball action, and Boston College versus Duke. So some good college basketball coming up in the next couple of days. Virginia Tech, how about that squad, Kyle? Ranked 19th in the country, took down number 3 Villanova earlier in the year, and really has developed into arguably the best team in the ACC this year.
Yeah, totally unexpected, honestly. It's not like they have any specific players that are breaking out right up until now, obviously. They're just a super dynamic squad, and kind of the type of teams that you find in the ACC, really, where just, deep rosters, but there's a couple guys at the top that are really the cream of the crop, and you'll probably see them in the draft soon enough.
Yeah, it's an interesting year for the Atlantic Coast Conference. You have Duke ranked all the way at 21st. North Carolina's out of it. Florida State's only at 25th. Virginia's out of it. Louisville's not ranked. So, and then you have a team like Virginia Tech and Clemson who are ranked. And just an interesting year. It's wide open. And hey, why not Syracuse receiving votes in the top 25 this week? They're 6-1 on the season, 1-0 in conference play, and they're ranked 25th as far as the KenPom rankings go for the NCAA tournament. So the free throw is up and good this time, and Syracuse now going the other way. Guerrier, a triple from the corner, and he makes it go. 14-6 is the lead for Syracuse. Quincy Guerrier is 66% from the field. He leads the ACC. He's the most prolific and efficient scorer, I think, on this team, Marchak.
Oh, yeah, he's extremely well-rounded, and that's why he averages double figures.
He's a double-double machine. In most of his go-abouts this season, he has a double-double, all but a couple of games. 14-6, the lead for the Orange. Pittsburgh going the other way with it. Johnson, a floater from just past the ACC logo, tips around for a minute. No good. Dolezaj tips it off to Guerrier. Guerrier with the rebound, now streaking up the court is Syracuse. Alan Griffin thought about popping a 3, decides to give it back to Girard on the left wing. Girard now top of the key. Shares the ball to the left side with Dolezaj, and Dolezaj calling the shots right now for the Orange. Guerrier pump fake, dribbles it back, step back, almost let one fly, decides not to, and here comes the trap. And they're going to say it's a foul here on the court against Pittsburgh. Just a little bit too much contact on Johnson, who was playing up against Quincy Guerrier, trying to get him to turn the ball over right along that sideline, and unable to do so. A foul for Pittsburgh. Syracuse will keep it. And Kyle, I don't know what I saw there, but just an interesting call. I think that's good basketball, but Syracuse has it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Xavier Johnson's obviously 6'3", 200 as opposed to Guerrier's 6'8", 220. Meanwhile, Dolezaj hits a big bucket and draws the foul. So, with that being said, obviously guys like that are going to get really handsy on that mismatch.
Yeah, you said it. You said it best, Kyle. And one for Marek Dolezaj comes in. That nice spin move that everyone's come to know and love here in Syracuse. The spin move draws the contact, kisses it off the glass. It doesn't get prettier than that, and he'll have a shot from the free throw line here. And the free throw is up and good. 17-6 is the lead for Syracuse. They lead it by 11. 14 and a half minutes to go here inside the Dome, and it's been all Syracuse. The points have been few and far between for Pittsburgh. They've struggled to get the lid off of the rim, but they'll try and do so here. Horton for 3 from the left wing. That one rattled around. No good. Offensive rebound, and the putback's no good. Quincy Guerrier, the rebound. Now Syracuse moving up the court with a little bit of pace here. Girard off to Buddy Boeheim, left wing. Tight defense. Boeheim dribbles behind his back, carries it like a football, almost got the floater to go, and it's off the mark and rebounded. Girard nearly a steal, and here come the Panthers going the other way. Dish to the inside, spin move. This one's up, no good, and they can't get those interior buckets to fall here, Kyle. That's really what Pittsburgh has been struggling with. They have a couple of guys playing down low. That time it was Terrell Brown. Three-pointer here off the mark now for Syracuse. 17-6 remains your score, and Horton has it in the left wing. Now kicked up to the top, right side. Pittsburgh sharing the ball well, really. Not one guy trying to go at it. Femi Udikale in the game now for Pittsburgh, and he makes a pass go errant, tipped away by Girard, almost had a turnover, and out of bounds it'll sail, Kyle. So it's been some reckless basketball, a little bit of sloppy these last couple of minutes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously both teams have the drive to really move the ball up and down the court well, as we see a shot of Justin Champagnie sitting on the sideline for Pittsburgh. He's been their star so far this season. Obviously, they're feeling it right now as he's a guy who can move the ball well in and out of the paint. And obviously, you can see it now with Brown and Coulibaly really struggling to get that ball up into the rim, excuse me.
And it's Girard taking it away for Syracuse. Now Alan Griffin thought about a three. Girard pump fake, drives in, back out to Griffin on the right wing. Three-pointer off the mark, no good. Offensive rebound, Girard. But instead a foul down low, and I believe it goes against Quincy. That will be
I'm not sure what I saw there.
second.
Obviously, he's a big guy who will get aggressive in the paint, but they've been calling some light fouls right now.
No, I absolutely agree. These are some light fouls, to say the least. Some new faces in here for the Pitt Panthers. Adise Toney in there as one of them. Terrell Brown, as I said, in the game. Haven't seen Nike Sabandi with any touches just yet. But again, Gerald Dromgold Jr. at the top of the key. Off to Toney. And Robert Braswell swats that ball away. Now Syracuse moving the other way. Alan Griffin with it, and he's able to draw a foul. So Robert Braswell into the game for the Orange on the other side of the court, and he comes up with a big block. Kyle, what were you saying?
And meanwhile, both teams are obviously going to get handsy. It seems like the bench is a little bit deeper on Syracuse's side, which isn't something you see too often, lacking some guys, especially at the center position, as Sidibe is back, but not in the game, I believe.
Yes, that is a great observation. Sidibe back today, but so's Buddy Boeheim just a couple of games ago, and he makes a statement. Hitting another triple from the left corner was Buddy Boeheim off the feed from Marek Dolezaj, and Syracuse really opening this thing up. A 14-point advantage for the Orange, 20-6, and another turnover here. It's taken away by Robert Braswell. Kadary Richmond in the game, also running the point. Left side, Buddy Boeheim back to Richmond. Three from the top of the key, and he missed it all.
Yeah, it looked like it might have touched the rim if he was lucky. Richmond probably just obviously is one of the younger guys in the team, so maybe some comeback nerves right now. But yeah, he's got to really lock down that shot form for sure. That's definitely an interesting look. Although he is a kid that can shoot it a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say the shooting's not necessarily a strong suit compared to everything else he can do, but offers a lot of length at the top of the zone. At one point before the hiatus, led the ACC in steals per game. Three-pointer up for Brown, this time off the mark, no good. Rebound, Marek Dolezaj, and here come the Orange. Back to Kadary Richmond on the right wing. Richmond pulls it back, off to Boeheim, left side, three-pointer, rolled around, no good. Rebounded by the Panthers, and they'll go the other way. Boeheim not struggling so far. He's hit a couple of them, but hasn't hit them all. And a foul on the interior. It'll be a trip to the charity stripe now for Udikale after this timeout. So Jeff Capel elects to take a timeout here, and both teams head to their bench. Syracuse leads at 20-6, and Udikale will take two free throws when they return. Kyle, 11:28 left to go. It's been all Syracuse here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously both teams have been struggling to get up and down the court and transition. It's been pretty sloppy, but at the end of the day, Syracuse executes more on the three-point shot and even a little bit on the inside, although we're not necessarily a team that has a ton of success in the paint unless we're talking about Girard. So obviously we lack some depth when it comes to that, but you can tell that the lack of depth on Pittsburgh's roster is also hitting them right now.
No, absolutely. And Syracuse now, you mentioned it, Barama Sidibe back this game. He's active, he's healthy, he can play, not in the starting lineup for Syracuse. So that's certainly interesting. Still running with Dolezaj at the 5, and maybe a situation where he just has to kind of develop himself back into the starting lineup. Boeheim doesn't want to really throw him into the fire just yet. This is a tough to say it's a true challenge for Syracuse because of Pittsburgh being without their star in Champagne, and then 3 total scholarship players. That does not help Pittsburgh, right? So Syracuse is playing against a depleted Pittsburgh squad. I'm not surprised they're running away with it. This isn't a true test for the Orange. But jumping ahead in an ACC conference matchup for the second time could certainly go a long way, considering the Orange received votes for the top 25 this week. A win here and possibly a win against Georgetown on Saturday. You got to think at that point, if the Orange are 8-1 with 2 conference wins, they might find themselves in the AP top 25 next week.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been a roller coaster of a season. One thing that you and I definitely notice as adamant Syracuse fans is they really struggle to beat teams that they should have in their back pocket, yet they pull out great games against teams that they definitely have to worry about. Had they just came into the season with the mentality that they just beat the teams that they need to, they would have more success. And honestly, it seems like they did this season. Even against teams like Buffalo, where they really struggled, they went into overtime and finished the game up. So, so far they've just won the games that they should have. And, that's what lands you in the top 25 eventually.
No, absolutely. They've had the upper hand in every single game except the Rutgers matchup. And they led that game with about 6 minutes left, led it by 5, let the game slip away. But, that's tough to hold against the Orange. Hung in there, didn't have Buddy Boeheim, didn't have Sidibe, still were able to hang in there with Rutgers. The only thing that really was not good for Syracuse was the rebounding category due to the size of that Rutgers squad, not having a true center in the game the entire way for Syracuse, not having Buddy Boeheim, and they still hung in there with him. And Rutgers is ranked 15th in the country right now. So if you can play high level basketball on the road with a team like that, you could probably play with the best of them.
Yeah, obviously, Cuse Nation just really hopes for a team that isn't a bubble squad again. That's definitely been a narrative in our history recently. So just making sure we're not struggling to beat teams that we should be picking apart right now.
Absolutely. Now, looking at some highlights here, Quincy Guerrier getting the 3-point going for Syracuse from the corner, and he hasn't been afraid to take that shot the entire year. And that's something, an extra dimension added to his game that we did not see last season. He was, quite frankly, not good at shooting the 3-point, and he wouldn't take that shot. He knew his strengths, develops that across the offseason. I remember Jim Boeheim making that promise during an NCAA tournament watch party when they watched the 2003 national championship. He said Quincy's going to shoot 65% from the field this year. He's going to be able to hit 3-pointers this year. He's shooting 66 from the field and he's hitting 3-pointers. So that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just another dimension to his game that, kind of adds to it all. And he's really just the most improved player on this squad.
And both free throws are up and good now for Pittsburgh. So, excuse me, we go 1 for 1. So 20-7 is the lead for Syracuse. 11:18 left to go. Alan Griffin 3 from the left side. That one doesn't hit home. Rebound now for Pittsburgh, and they streak up the court. Jumper here from the left side off the front rim. No good. Alan Griffin, the rebound. And for Pittsburgh, it was Gerald Dromgoole Jr. who couldn't get it to go. Buddy Boeheim now with it. Robert Braswell, a pump fake from the right wing. He's able to drive to the inside, dish it to Marek Dolezaj. Boeheim top of the key. Now a wide open Braswell right corner. Braswell rattles it home. And welcome to the game, Robert Braswell. This is the best production we've seen out of him so far this season. Couple of blocks, a steal, and now a 3-pointer.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can kind of tell the body language is looking a lot better on him. He's a long athlete, and he felt confident in that shot right there. And that's an intangible you definitely need as a young man in the Syracuse roster.
Dromgoole Jr. puts a 3. That one's no good, and an offensive rebound and a putback now for the Pitt Panthers. It was Terrell Brown on the inside, a senior from Providence, Rhode Island, the forward, able to get it to go. And now Syracuse moving the other way. It's a 23-9 lead for the Orange. Buddy Boeheim thought about a 3 from the top of the key. The defense was there. Back to Richmond. Richmond over to Alan Griffin. Now Richmond driving to the inside. Kicks it out. Right wing. 3-pointer for Robert Braswell. He hits, but there's a foul on the interior before the shot. But still, Robert Braswell able to look calm, cool, and collective and put that 3-pointer up. And it was money. Nothing but net. I know it doesn't count, but that's back-to-back triples out of Robert Braswell. The defense was still coming out at him. Nobody really stopped play until after the shot, and he just hit that. So it doesn't count. It's still a 23-9 lead for Syracuse, but something positive to look at there out of Robert Braswell. 10 minutes left to go exactly in the game here, and the Pitt Panthers with the ball, they trail big time to Syracuse right now. Sharing the ball well, though, is Pittsburgh. It's not one guy trying to go to the tin. Is another steal for the Orange. They've been so good at creating turnovers so far tonight with that pesky 2-3 zone, and it's Buddy Boeheim taking it up the floor. Boeheim over to Girard on the left wing, back to Boeheim, top of the key. Girard pump fake. Back to Boeheim. Boeheim pump fake. Three-pointer from the top of the key. Rattled around. No good. Rebound by Alan Griffin. Now Girard for three. And this one's money. Syracuse can't miss. 26-9 is the lead for the Orange. 9:17 left to go. How about this offense, Marchak?
Yeah, Girard, always a guy that's confident from the arc. And when he gets a ball kicked out to him, 10 out of 10 times, he'll probably take that shot. So obviously something he should hit, although not necessarily the case in recent history. But good to see something for his confidence right there. He's a guy that should be out in the court undeniably.
Yeah, he struggled a little bit this season. A lot of Syracuse fans calling for the start of Kadary Richmond as the Orange are able to force another turnover. It's Boeheim, but now it rattles around the court. And again, it'll go the other way. That's two turnovers within about 5 seconds in the stat book for Untitled and the Pitt Panthers. The Orange will take it as they already lead at 26-9, 8:50. It's turning into a little bit of a bloodbath here in Syracuse. Teams getting scrappy on the floor, but the Orange really running away with this thing on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, with teams like this, obviously the game's going to look very aggressive and maybe foul trouble will occur. But at the end of the day, it's just whichever sword is sharper, honestly. And Syracuse has been executing better. They've been using the high screen a little bit to create more space on offense. So just some small things that'll certainly curate the win for Syracuse tonight if they continue to play like this.
26-9 is the lead for the Orange, and Syracuse has the ball. Robert Braswell pump fake, a two-pointer. He pulls up, and that one's no good. Really didn't give himself a chance to get his feet set. I don't think he realized how much space he really had. I almost wonder if he was able to just stop for a moment and really set himself before setting that three, or that two, I should say. He might have had a better chance of getting it to go, but it's off the mark, and it looks like Pittsburgh nearly turns it over again, but it's off the hands of Marek Dolezaj. Will stay on the left end of the court. Syracuse wearing the all-white uniforms, and Pittsburgh coming in with their blue on yellow, blue jerseys, blue pants with the yellow trim. Now Pittsburgh passing it back and forth along the top of the key. Really running with the same lineup here. Ethel Horton kind of leading the way. Drive to the interior. Two-pointer for Femi Udikale is off the mark, but it looks like he will have two from the free throw line. Udikale just a drive to the interior, foul against Marek Dolezaj, and it'll be two shots from the charity stripe. 26-9 is the lead for Syracuse. 8:04 left to go. Excuse me. And Udikale is at the free throw line for Pittsburgh. First free throw is up and perfect. 26-10 is the score. 8:04 left to go. Kadary Richmond coming back into the game for Alan Griffin. So Boeheim really switching out his lineups a little bit, but Alan Griffin's been hot for Syracuse as of late. Only had one game where he did struggle, scored 0 points for the Orange, but ever since that, it's been lights out for Alan Griffin. The second one rattles around, no good, and a foul that time on the interior as Adise Toney was trying to go up and grab it. So Syracuse will take it the other way. Pittsburgh, a lot of turnovers and a lot of fouls as well. 26-10 is the lead for Syracuse. 8 minutes left on the clock. Kadary Richmond at the top of the key. Richmond a drive to the inside, kicks it out left side to a cutting Boeheim. Boeheim on the left wing. Now over to Girard in that same spot. Dolezaj comes up to set a screen. Girard tightly guarded here by Horton. Girard kick out right wing. This time a three-pointer is way off the mark for Kadary Richmond. Clearly not his strong suit tonight. Offensive rebound by Marek Dolezaj, and late in the shot clock, he just has to chuck one up. That one is not even close. So Kadary Richmond's three doesn't even hit the rim or the backboard. It actually hits the side of the backboard. That does not count as a shot clock reset. Therefore, Syracuse struggle on that possession and have a shot clock violation, Kyle, but it's still a big lead for Syracuse, 26-10. They lead it by 16. That was an ugly possession, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously with a 16-point lead, they're going to be lucky with a 7.5 to go to hold on to that lead and feel comfortable going into the locker room. But at the end of the day, they should feel thankful that, looking so sloppy that they're only facing a team in Pittsburgh, not to undermine the levels of talent, of course, on this squad. Without Champagnie, it's going to look a little bit different. Xavier Johnson, not really passing the ball as much as he should. He's a guy who averages, almost 6 assists per game. And right now he only has 1. And, with that type of numbers, he's going to end the game with only a handful if he's lucky. So obviously the ball movement looks all right, but at the end of the day, they can't execute when they get it to the inside. So you're not going to get a ton of assists if your guys can't hit buckets for obvious reasons. So, they all have the right mentality, but you can tell even with guys on the inside, they're just a little shaky on the ball. A lot of guys on this court, even for Syracuse, just with their youth, need to calm down on the ball, and you'll see some better execution.
Now, coming up this weekend, Marchak, is the NFL playoffs for 2020, 2021. Can't believe they made it there, to be quite honest. The NFL, flawless throughout this season, just shifting around games. You had games every night of the week, whether it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at times, right? It was fantastic. Really, the NFL didn't skip a beat. Not a single game canceled. Absolutely phenomenal. And it's shaping up to be an exciting postseason, Kyle. Who you got in the Super Bowl this year out of the AFC and the NFC?
Well, I've seen it all too well that Buffalo's offense is ridiculously good. But honestly, with the leadership on the NFC side, at least, I think Brady will find himself in another Super Bowl situation with the Bucs. He's just performing. He's outperforming really, and especially with the chemistry between him and his tight end for obvious reasons. I think some tricks can be pulled out for sure. And then on the AFC side, it's a lot tighter of a ship to look at. I think the Steelers look flawless, but the way their wide receivers have been performing, at least, it's been a little bit underwhelming, even when their quarterback is Mason Rudolph in that final game. It was just far too close against a team like the Browns, who got lucky to pull out that win and head into the playoffs, pushing teams like the Dolphins out. So obviously a tight AFC playoff look there. But my take, I mean, the Ravens look really good, obviously, with guys like Lamar Jackson for obvious reasons, but he hasn't been playing the way he has. So with that, I'm saying either the Steelers or the Bills will find themselves. I just don't think Mahomes is going to repeat the success that he's had in past years.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. That's my Super Bowl pick, and it's an unpopular opinion. It's the Bills and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And what a story it would be for Buffalo fans, because Tom Brady's been lighting up Buffalo for the last 20 years, right? So for them to get a shot to play Brady in a Super Bowl would be fantastic. And I can agree, the AFC is a lot more competitive, I think, than the NFC. And I don't think that the Green Bay Packers or the New Orleans Saints are as good as they're ranked. I really like Tom Brady and the Buccaneers out of the NFC. But we're back to basketball inside the Dome. It's a 26-10 lead for Syracuse. 7.5 minutes left to play. 3-pointer here for the Panthers. Rattles around, no good. Syracuse trying to chase after it, and we'll stay on this side as Robert Braswell couldn't corral it, and it goes out of bounds. Trying to fight for a rebound here. The 3-pointer by Femi Udakale was no good, but Syracuse still leads it by 16. Pittsburgh gets a fresh shot clock here, reset back to 20, and with 7:16 left in the first half, here we go. Udakale at the top of the key, gives it off to the right side. It's Brown. Now back at the top again, Horton. Back to Udakale. Now Horton on the right side. 3-pointer. This one from way deep. No good. Couldn't get it to fall. Now Joe Girard the third with the rebound, stretching out for Syracuse. Girard left side over to Braswell, able to keep it in play. It was tipped away, but Braswell able to hustle for it. And Kaderi Richmond now with it at the top of the key. Richmond over to Dolezaj. Pittsburgh playing some suffocating man-to-man defense right now. Dolezaj, a spin move, gets the 2 to fall. How about the senior from Slovakia? That spin move and that bucket, that's sensational.
Yeah, I mean, how about this NBA comp? He plays a lot like Pascal Siakam. Obviously not the same type of skill level, but his offensive ability is very, very strikingly similar to a guy in Pascal Siakam.
No, I like that. And he's on my fantasy basketball team, a matter of fact. Siakam's
you're a lucky guy.
Absolutely. And now Pittsburgh going the other way. It's a 28-10 lead for Syracuse. Drive to the inside. Horton gets a tough 2 to fall. 28-12 now, and that was a good bucket out of Horton that time for the Pitt Panthers. 5:57 left on the clock in the first half. This game's flying by. Girard dribbles it through his legs. Now a step back, man. He's good off that dribble. Kaderi Richmond, left corner. Doesn't let the three fly. Drive to the inside. Kick out Robert Braswell. A tough two. And missed it all. Now, like I said, Braswell doesn't give himself a chance to let his feet set, right? He just shot that immediately, kind of panicked a little bit, right? I'd love to see him just set his feet, let that thing fly. A miss here for Pittsburgh, left corner 3, and rebound Robert Braswell. Syracuse moving now the other way. Girard, top of the key. Still low scoring with 5 minutes left, despite Syracuse's big lead and an offensive foul against the Orange, and it was Joe Girard off of a screen.
Yeah, Joe Girard, usually a guy that's more calm in the ball, as you were speaking of guys who are kind of frantic with it, like Richmond. And, you don't like to see offensive fouls like that. Syracuse, despite having more depth than usual, historically speaking, a team you still, don't want to see get into foul trouble. And it looks like both teams will end up doing that in the aggressive manner in which they've been playing this game, especially in transition.
28-12 is the lead here for Syracuse. It's a big one. 5 minutes left to go. Odekale thought about a 3, but there's a foul on the inside. This time it's against Pitt, and now Syracuse gets the ball back. So the refs not letting them play at all here today. I mean, minimal contact, and they're blowing the whistle a lot. They like that attention on TV, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's back and forth, a ton of whistles, but both teams are handsy anyways. Of course, that's their playing styles, but I just don't think it's as much as they've chalked it up to be.
Girard nearly gets it poked away, able to maintain the possession. 28-12 is the lead for the Orange. 4:40 left to play. Girard drive to the inside. Back out. Dolezaj a deep 2, and it's nothing but net. How about Marek Dolezaj? The leader of this Syracuse basketball squad in his senior year came in barely speaking the English language. And from everything that the players and coaches have said, he's evolved to really be the true leader of this team in 2020, 2021.
Yeah, that kid from Europe can really ball. I mean, you love to watch him play like that, especially a guy who can really have the ball on a string, and he's our assist leader as well.
Horton couldn't hit a 3. Rebound Quincy Guerrier, and now the Orange not really pushing the envelope. They're not playing with a quick pace. They're settling down offensively. Dolezaj, another drive to the tin, this time not able to drive it home, and it's still 30-12 the lead for Syracuse. And a nice drive here to the inside for Pittsburgh. It's Femi Odekale again, the leading force for the Panthers. And he's able to kiss one off the glass. 30-14 is the game here. Syracuse up by 16 points. 3:45 left to play. Girard at the top of the key. Everyone else moving off the ball. Now Boeheim. Boeheim a drive. Left side is Dolezaj. Boeheim a pump fake, steps back, almost let a 3 fly, couldn't get the separation. Back to Girard and an offensive foul. The ref is going to say that Girard pushed off a little bit. I think that's a great sell job by Odekale. What are your thoughts on that call, Marchak?
I mean, that's huge. Obviously, Odekale bit a little bit on that pump fake by Girard, who then cut to his left to drive in. Odekale back down on his feet, shuffled to his right, and stood right in front of Girard and really ate that shot. So I think that's a great play by Odekale nonetheless. But maybe he drew that one a little bit. At the end of the day, that's a great defensive play by Odekale, who's really all over the place tonight. He's been the guy really getting to the bucket for Pittsburgh and keeping them in this game, obviously down by 15 plus right now. So they're going to have to work a little bit of magic, but Odekale has been their guy tonight for sure.
Yeah, he has. And I mean, that you need a guy like that to step up when your star player Champagne is not on the court, right? If you're Pittsburgh. But I think the lack of experienced players on the court is definitely showing for Pittsburgh. And I'm not saying I expected Syracuse to have a 16-point lead, but just knowing that Pittsburgh's without some of their star core players, it's not necessarily surprising. Syracuse is playing against a very depleted squad right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, like I said, Syracuse and the chaos of their schedule this season are fortunate to come back from a 2-week hiatus, facing only a team in Pittsburgh, obviously not the most skilled team in the ACC, although their record says otherwise, starting off decently thus far. But they've been a team that's really struggled, historically speaking, in the recent years. Not to undermine the talent on their squad, of course, as I've mentioned before, Champagne out, and he's certainly a force to be reckoned with when he's on the court.
Now let's take a look at the Syracuse basketball schedule, right? Because some stuff's been really moved around here postponements, everything like that. They were supposed to play Notre Dame after the Buffalo game, and then it all started with the contact tracing after playing Buffalo. Buffalo had COVID-19 problems and positive tests within their program. That rubs off on Syracuse. New York State mandate, automatic 14-day quarantine for everybody. So that postponed the Notre Dame game, that postponed the Wake Forest game, and the biggest of all, that North Carolina matchup on the road at the Dean Smith Center in Chapel Hill was postponed. Then they were supposed to play Florida State on Wednesday, January 6th, which is today. That was postponed, and instead they were able to schedule Pittsburgh, luckily. So Syracuse fans and this team didn't have to wait until that Georgetown matchup. So now on Saturday, the 9th, Syracuse will play Georgetown. It'll be 8 o'clock primetime matchup on ESPN2, and we'll have the call for you right here on Orange Heat, the Orange and the Hoyas. And then they're going to play Clemson, who's a ranked team, the next Tuesday. That is going to be a home game for Syracuse as well, an opportunity to take down a top 25 team. Then they're on the road at Pittsburgh again. Then they play Miami in the Dome on the 19th, and the 23rd, they'll play Virginia Tech to close out the month of January. They'll play on the road at Virginia and Charlottesville and against NC State. So the schedule doesn't get any easier, right? You're playing two of the best teams in the ACC in Clemson and Virginia Tech. Surprising we're saying that. Usually that would be a football thing to say. But, you know, it's 2020. It's actually 2021, but that's how college basketball is shaped out, Marchak.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's all a part of the chaos of this COVID season. So some teams step up, some teams really they crumble under the pressure. And sometimes maybe you have to question the discipline of some of the players and other teams because of COVID and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, obviously I'm looking forward to that Virginia Tech and Clemson matchups, as those are new teams to the rankings. So we'll see how Syracuse adjusts to these squads with new skill levels.
And we're back to basketball here inside the Dome. Pittsburgh really keeping that same lineup in the game for the entire way. And at the top, leading it at the guard position, it's Horton. And it's of course the leading way, Odekale. 2-pointer here, fading away that time was Odekale, off the mark, no good. Syracuse couldn't pull down a rebound. Horton doesn't like the call. And it goes out of bounds off the Orange. Keeping the possession alive this time are the Panthers. 2:58 left to play here in the Dome in the first half. 30-14 is the lead for Syracuse. The offense has been solid for the Orange. And now Pittsburgh dealing with a fresh 20-second shot clock. Dish to the outside. 3-pointer now. Odekale draws some contact. No foul is called. And it's going the other way. Syracuse takes it. So Odekale fell to the deck, missed everything on the three, wanted a foul called. So did Jeff Capel. Not going to get it. Though the refs have called a lot today, they won't give him that one, and Syracuse goes the other way with it. 2:41 left to go here. Marek Dolezaj, top of the key. Right side. Alan Griffin, a 2. This time no good. Rebounded now, going the other way for the Panthers. And a tough 2 swatted off the backboard by Alan Griffin. Trying to get it to go was Adise Toney, and he missed it, but he will take a trip to the free throw line.
Yeah, unfortunately, I saw that one coming. Obviously, Boeheim and Griffin and even Girard getting in there, getting a little handsy in transition, and Toney getting that one up with his left hand. But obviously, you're going to get fouled in transition, especially with two teams who are really aggressive on defense tonight in Pittsburgh and Syracuse.
Toney's first free throw is up and good. And Kyle, we like that Virginia Tech matchup coming up. You and I both applied to Virginia Tech, and certainly one of our top schools in our college broadcasting journey. So, you know, we've been rooting for the Hokies a little bit, so definitely excited to see that matchup. That one's in Syracuse this year. Rebound here. Horton, offensive rebound. They got one free throw to go. Couldn't get the second one for Toney. Rebound Horton, but now they turn the ball over again. 30-15 is the score here in the Dome. It's a kickball violation on the inside. Horton knew he had a step, but just lost control of the ball. 2:25 left to go. And actually, the kickball goes against Marek Dolezaj, who was in the scrum, and Pittsburgh keeps it alive. 30-15, 2.5 minutes to play. Horton, top of the key for Pittsburgh. Gets a screen. And gets that ball taken away by Alan Griffin. The pass intended to the inside for Odekale, and it was stripped away. Now Syracuse going the other way with it. Kadary Richmond a dribble to the inside. Some great footwork out of the freshman and kisses it off the glass, rolls it home, 32-15. What a play. Isolation that time for the freshman Kadary Richmond.
Yeah, he really kissed that one up and off the glass after really dangling that ball in a string.
Now a rebound and a steal here on the inside for Alan Griffin. The Orange moving quickly. Three-pointer, Buddy Boeheim. This one unable to hit. 32-15 still the score. A minute and a half to go. I think the roof would have blown off the dome if Buddy Boeheim hit that, even though there's no fans in there. Now Pittsburgh moving with it. Horton on the left side. Dish to the middle. Trying to get a drive. And a nice dunk here on the interior. Look at that fancy play, Marchak, out of the big man in right now, Terrell Brown, the senior out of Providence. Boeheim at the top. Exactly a minute to play here inside the dome. Kadary Richmond on the left side. Up to Quincy Guerrier. We haven't seen much out of him down the stretch here. Boeheim left wing. Back up to Richmond, who's running the point. Richmond a drive off to Dolezaj. Dolezaj trying to get that spin and penetration on Brown. Kicks it back out Boeheim. Boeheim a fadeaway three, rattles around. Dolezaj trying to stretch out for the rebound, and Brown just has too much muscle on it. Able to pull it away. 32-17, 36 seconds left. Horton a deep three. No good. Offensive rebound and the bucket and the foul. Look at that play that time for Pittsburgh on the interior. That's a straight up hustle play out of Adese Toney.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a huge board right there. And then he kisses it up, backing in. Yeah, that's a real aggressive play that you can kind of expect from the guys on the inside for Pittsburgh. They've been like that all night, not necessarily executing as much as they want, but not afraid to really force the ball up and in.
So Toney will get one from the free throw line. Quincy Guerrier out of the game for Syracuse. 3 fouls in the first half. You don't like to see that. Boeheim's going to certainly sit him for the last 32 seconds. Toney, free throws, no good. And Marchak, they actually waved off that bucket, so it wasn't an and one. It was he got fouled on the floor and just kind of threw it up behind him after. They're in the double bonus, so it wasn't a shooting foul. It was a foul on the floor, but they're in the double bonus. So Toney will get one more free throw after missing the first and rattles home the second. So 32-18 with 32 seconds left here in the first half. This first half has really flown by inside the dome. We're used to calling a lot of football as of late, so this basketball is really flying by. Jim Boeheim wants a timeout, draw something up for the final 27.
Yeah, I mean, Boeheim's been really, he's been really adamant on really managing this game. Not necessarily a guy who micromanages it, but makes sure that his players are really disciplined. Obviously, he has so much history in not just the ACC or Big East, but just in college basketball in general. He's such a well-respected guy, not just by his players, but everyone in college basketball. And so it's always fun to see him drawing up plays in the sideline, seeing how he can close out this half, of course. And so he's a guy who really likes to slow down the game a bit. And it makes it a lot easier for guys like, Richmond or Braswell, who are so young and so excited to kind of take a second to take in the game and read it so much better, which is why every player he produces really knows how to read the defense and read the offense so well.
One of the best to ever do it right here in Syracuse, New York, the great Jim Boeheim. 32-18 is the score. Syracuse leads it big in the first half. Not a scoring explosion out of the Orange, just a lot of good defense, a depleted Pittsburgh team, and that's why we find ourselves with a 32-18 ball game inside the dome. 12 seconds left to go on the clock. Kadary Richmond slowing it down, and now here they go. Boeheim, top of the key, pass to the inside, Dolezaj. Now Boeheim, right wing three-pointer, off the front rim, no good. Kadary Richmond, a rebound, tried to send a putback home. Alan Griffin pulled it down. Now Boeheim, and that'll do it as the clock expires in the first half. It got a little bit exciting there at the end. Boeheim not happy with how that last possession played out. But nonetheless, it's a big lead for Syracuse as the teams head into the locker room. It's been good offensively and defensively for the Orange. 32-18 is the lead inside the dome. Kyle Marchak, how you feeling about this game? Now, Pittsburgh, very depleted. We talked about it. Syracuse really, though, driving home, minimizing the mistakes, and that's why they find themselves with a large lead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Syracuse with a guy like Boeheim leading them should be kind of perfectionist at this point, especially when you have a chance to kind of sit back with a clean palette against a team in Pittsburgh, which is missing, a couple of guys that they need. I've noticed that Noah Collier is one of their freshmen, not a red shirt, and he has not touched the court. So you can imagine he's one of those guys that they're missing also. And I can't think of the other face, but of course, Champagny out too. So Syracuse fortunate to be kind of playing with a clean slate here, and Boeheim keeping them disciplined. I'd imagine the way he plays, he's probably going to slow them down a little bit and drop some more plays to start off the half with. And then I'd imagine that in Boeheim's favor, he'll probably have Girard popping off of that high screen from Dolezaj, who's been on the court plenty despite Sidibe's new presence on the bench. So we'll see maybe some new faces coming out in the second half if Boeheim continues to look comfortable with it. But for now, they have to separate.
So we'll take a quick break here on Orange Sheet in just a little bit before we bring you the second half. But first, Kyle, let's take a look at the first half box score here on both sides of the ball for Pittsburgh. Right now, it's Coulibaly leading the way for Pittsburgh with 3 points. Horton with 5. Actually, Horton leading the way and 2 points out of Tony. Off the bench, it's Brown with 4 and Odakale with 4. So only 18 points in the first half out of the Panthers. And that's a struggle to say the least. And on the other side for Syracuse, not an offensive explosion, but getting the job done are the Orange. Nobody in double figures just Alan Griffin leads the way with 8 points. He's got 6 rebounds, an assist as well. And he's 2 for 4 from 3, 3 for 6 from the field. Dolezaj coming in at second, 7 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. He's 3 for 4 from the field. And then Guerrier has 3 points. He's got 4 rebounds. Buddy Boeheim with 6 points. He's 2 for 7 from 3 and 2 for 8 from the field. So a little bit of struggles here for Buddy Boeheim. Still finds himself with 2 3-point field goals. Richmond's got 2, and Robert Braswell has 2. So really your first half flame of the game should be Alan Griffin. He leads the way in rebounds and points on his way to a possible double-double. It's been a decent first half for Syracuse, though, Kyle. Your final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Girard's been struggling to score the ball, but it is good to see that his production has gone up as he's led off this first half with 4 assists, a number that you really wouldn't expect from a guy like him who likes to dish it off to guys like Dolezaj or Buddy Boeheim in order for them to curate some plays, as he isn't a guy that likes to drive the ball all too much. But it's good to see some more production out of him. And obviously, Pittsburgh, with one more face in the court than Syracuse, so maybe their depth isn't as bad as we thought compared to us as well. And obviously foul trouble will be something to watch throughout the game. And both the teams extremely aggressive. Obviously Guerrier with 3 of them thus far. So Boeheim's micromanaging of this team will really come into play in the second half in order for them, to really pull away with this win.
Absolutely. So we'll take a quick break here on Orange Heat. It's a big lead for Syracuse, 32-18 at halftime. Again, it's ACC college basketball. It's the Orange, it's the Panthers, and it's right here on Orange Heat. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back here on Orange Sheet. We're inside the Carrier Dome. Syracuse with a 32-18 lead right now over the Pitt Panthers. And it's been a good one for the Orange on the one side of the court, and on the other side for Pittsburgh, it hasn't been so much. But a deep three that time out of Johnson to get the scoring going early for Pittsburgh, and they draw themselves just that much closer. An 11-point lead now for Syracuse, 32-21. Xavier Johnson, 1,000 career points. He hits that milestone with that three-pointer.
Yeah, and, right off the bat, obviously Pittsburgh's going to have the better energy, it seems. Boeheim really needs to reel his guys in. I can see already that maybe the discipline isn't all the way there. Guerrier's on the court. He's in foul trouble already. And so you need to make sure these guys are going to stay reeled in, because right now Pittsburgh, next thing you know, one bucket, and they're within single digits. And this is a team that we're really supposed to pick apart.
Now Pittsburgh back with it on the other end of the court. Deep three this time from the left side, and count it. How about the Panthers coming out quickly here? And it was Ethel Horton from downtown. This game just got all that much more exciting. 32-24 the lead for Syracuse. 19:03 left to go. Just a minute underway, and nearly turning it over that time was Joe Girard III at the top of the key. Horton knew it as he slams the ball off the court. Thought he had a breakaway dunk to get this thing within 6, but instead it's an 8-point ball game. 32-24 is the lead for the Orange. Buddy Boeheim to inbound. Coming to the ball is Marek Dolezaj, back to Boeheim on the right wing. Now Girard, top of the key. Plants his feet, comes and gets a screen from Dolezaj. Pushing up the court, Alan Griffin, deep three, top of the key, off the back rim, and it wouldn't have mattered. There was a foul off the ball against Joe Girard at the point guard position. And Boeheim's letting him hear it. Jeff Capel addressing his team as well. And Pittsburgh gets the ball back here, trailing by just 8.
And again, that discipline not on display there. Joe Girard struggled with that all year, just stupid fouls and stuff like that. And you see it in far too many players in a team that's supposed to be, ran by a tight ship in Jim Boeheim.
Here's Horton out to Johnson on the right wing. Syracuse able to suffocate it with the 2-3 zone. Johnson top of the key. Johnson still with it. Dish to the inside. Floater now from the elbow is good. Count it that time. And Pittsburgh's on fire. They can't miss, as it's William Jeffries with the bucket now for the Panthers. And it's a 32-26 lead for Syracuse. 18-10 left to play. Girard tries to get after it. It's poked away from Marek Dolezaj, and Johnson picks it up. Johnson trying to get to the tin. Swatted away by Woody Newton, the freshman, with that new headband, a new look we haven't seen on Woody Newton so far this season, and it's his first action of the game. But Syracuse has turned the ball over a couple of times, and it's proven to be costly. Pittsburgh right back in this game all of a sudden.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Girard not diving for that ball that was knocked loose on that turnover. So you can kind of tell lack of discipline, lack of effort, just small things that Syracuse will have to get in line if they want to win this game.
Absolutely. Now Johnson with it at the top. Johnson pulls up for 3 from downtown off the front rim. No good. Rebounded Marek Dolezaj. Syracuse pushing the tempo now. This is the first time they've done that really all game. Girard deep 3 and count it. Girard wanted 3 and it went in. No problem for Joey G that time. That stroke was flawless. It's a 35-26 game, 9-point advantage for the Orange, just like that. Now Pittsburgh sharing it well. Drive now, 3-pointer from the right side this time, and no good. Chasing after it is Woody Newton as well as Johnson. Johnson able to keep it in play, and it won't be an over the back. 3-pointer that time by William Jeffress was no good. And a 2-pointer counted this time for Pittsburgh, and now getting his first action of the second half is Audice Toney. 35-28 is the score, 17:02 left to play. Girard manning the point guard position right now for the Orange. No Kadary Richmond on the floor. It's Girard, it's Boeheim, it's Dolezaj, it's Newton, and it is Alan Griffin. 3-pointer from Buddy Boeheim, off the mark, no good. Rebounded here by Audice Toney. Right side, Horton, 3-pointer, no good. And swatted away. Trying to find a rebounder at the top of the key was Marek Dolezaj, but nobody was home but a bunch of blue jerseys, and Johnson ended up with it.
Yeah, and you have to wonder about Alan Griffin's conditioning as well, as he kind of left his man open for a 3-point shot in transition right there, kind of jogging down the court.
And what looked like a silly foul that time was on the floor for Syracuse against Woody Newton. And I think Boeheim might have told Newton to do a foul so that they can get some substitutions in. Look at Robert Braswell in the game and Kaderi Richmond checking in as well. Newton comes out. His time was short-lived, about 3.5 minutes before being taken out by Coach B. And Pittsburgh with the ball, they trail now by about 7. 35-28 is the lead for Syracuse. 16:26 left to play, and Audice Toney turns it over for Pittsburgh as Marek Dolezaj inbounds to Kaderi Richmond running the point. Girard out of the game now for Syracuse as well. Alan Griffin, a drive, a spin around, and trying to rattle it home. No good, off the backboard and out. 35-28 the lead for Syracuse. Johnson, a drive to the inside, and that one doesn't fall either. But there's a foul on the floor, and it looks like Xavier Johnson's taking a trip to the free throw line, the guilty party. Alan Griffin, the Illinois transfer for Syracuse.
Yeah, I mean, just a really aggressive play right there. That dude, super explosive. Watch him get all the way up. And yeah, it just looked like there was possibly some goaltending there. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but Griffin pleading his case.
Boeheim doesn't like the call. Griffin doesn't like the call. And on the other side, Jeff Capel's got to be happy. Johnson just getting to the tin. That's one thing Pittsburgh did in the first half. They're not a very good three-point shooting team. They haven't been all year. They weren't last year, but they took a lot of three-pointers. Really couldn't get any penetration on the zone. Now in the second half, it's been a different story. They're getting to the cup. They're getting now to the free throw line. And this is a 4-point ball game. The free throw is good for Johnson, and 35-31 is the lead for Syracuse. Joe Girard, a deep three about 5 seconds into the shot clock. Not even close. Rebounded now on the other side by Audice Toney. And that's what we've talked about so many times, Marchak. Why does he take that shot?
I mean, that's just terrible shot selection. And you can already tell that because Syracuse has come out completely undisciplined, Pittsburgh is going to pull away with this game. And then without thinking, Girard pulls up from 30. I mean, there's just shots that don't need to happen, and that's one of them.
And a shot on the inside here is no good, and it's rebounded by Alan Griffin. Kaderi Richmond moving the other way. Pull-up jumper. This one, front rim, kisses off the glass and nearly hits home, but off the mark. 35-31 remains the score. 15:23 left to go. Johnson back to Toney. Tried to find Horton, but it's stolen away by Alan Griffin, but he puts his left foot on the sideline, and out of bounds will be called. 15:18 left. And we'll go the other way. Syracuse leads it by a slim margin now. And how about Johnson? He's come out explosive here in the second half. He didn't have that same kind of production in the first, but really something must have clicked in the locker room for Pittsburgh. Jeff Capel has made some adjustments, and it's proven to be successful.
Yeah, whatever Capel told his guys, they've just been executing more often than Syracuse coming out in this half, and soon enough they'll have a tie ball game. So Syracuse, a lot of changes to make. Boeheim certainly does not have his guys reeled in right now. It just seems like there's a lack of discipline, and obviously with Girard's deep three-point shot that we see far too often, it lands, literally less than 2 out of 10 times, I'd imagine, when he pulls up that early in the shot clock from that deep. You're not Tyler Lydon versus Virginia in the 2016 NCAA Elite Eight. You're Joe Girard. And, obviously he's an extremely well-talented athlete, but at the same time, it seems like he tries to play outside of himself. And that's what Boeheim is so good, is really reeling in the intangibles of his athletes, their work ethic, their drive, their basic effort, and then obviously keeping them humble. And that's one thing, not saying Girard isn't a humble young man, but he tries to play outside of himself. And really, he is so athletic. If he just began to slow the game down, drive the ball, create some plays to happen, work off the high screen, I feel like Syracuse would see more success offensively. And he's still a stingy guy to play against on the defensive side of the ball as well. So, I mean, they have all the intangibles. It's just a matter of reeling them in right now.
Absolutely. This game's starting to slip away from them a little bit. We went into the locker room as a large double-digit lead for Syracuse has certainly disappeared so far here in the second half. And, hey, we're not necessarily complaining. We got some exciting basketball to cover here inside the Dome. Syracuse trying to go 2-0 in conference play. Pittsburgh just trying to escape this game with a possible victory, being out 3 scholarship players, and Champagne sustaining this injury. He's along the sideline. He's in street clothes, obviously, not dressed for today's game, will not participate. And the struggles were very apparent in the first half, but Jeff Capel and company have really turned things around throughout the stretch of the second half.
Yeah, Capel just adamant on reeling in his players, it seems, and you can only imagine the damage that would be done thus far in the second half with guys like Campanian, and I believe Nike Sabande is a guy that we haven't seen, and of course Noah Collier, perhaps just because he's young, he hasn't gotten on the court, but as far as I know, I have not seen him either. So obviously a few guys they're missing, and of course we're missing the presence of Brahma Sidibe, who perhaps coming back from his injury just does not feel prepared to get on the court, or of course that's Boeheim's decision at the end of the day. So we could use the excuse that we're missing a guy on the inside, but at the end of the day, Dolezaj has been extremely consistent for Syracuse as that replacement setter. And he's real quick with the ball for a guy who's supposed to be a 5. Obviously, he's more of a 4 or a 3 for that matter. And of course, Guerrier doing his job, keeping the game simple. But otherwise, our guards have just been really sporadic. So obviously, some discipline issues, you could say, for both teams to reel in right now, as there's a lot of young faces on the court.
Absolutely. And back to basketball we go here inside the dome. How about Xavier Johnson here in the second half? He's running the point right now. Off to Audice Toney. Back to Johnson, top of the key. 35-31's the lead for Syracuse. 15-10 left to go here. 11 seconds now. 10. Now 9 on the shot clock for the Pittsburgh Panthers. Xavier Johnson pull up from deep 3-point range. Had no choice late in the shot clock, off the mark, rebounded by Kadary Richmond, and Syracuse moving quick the other way. That's what Richmond does. He pushes the tempo. Right wing 3-pointer, Robert Braswell, and count it. How about this kid today, Marchak, making the most out of his minutes? He's had an impact at the forward spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's been a guy who's been really comfortable shooting from the wing, whether or not there's success. So obviously high confidence in the young man. And he just really fits with this 2-3 zone. And just in general, he's a guy that Syracuse definitely likes to have on the court.
38-31, the lead back up for Syracuse. 14:25 left to go. Johnson, Audice Toney, pull up from the ACC logo, left elbow, count it. That was a pretty stroke out of Audice Toney, and 38-33 is the score now. 14:14 left to go on the clock. And Pittsburgh draws this thing back within 5. Joe Girard on the right side. Off to a cutting Alan Griffin. Griffin a drive, kick out. Robert Braswell for 3 again. Back-to-back triples out of Robert Braswell, and the orange bench explodes.
Yeah, and that's either the 5th or the 6th assist tonight for Alan Griffin, who's been leading in that category. What a play right there.
Absolutely sensational. Miss on the other side for Horton. Girard a rebound. Girard a deep 3. Pulls up, rattles around, no good. And rebounded by Audice Toney. Now, it wasn't as deep as they typically are, Kyle, but that was literally probably 2 seconds into the shot clock.
Again, it's just when he misses those shots, it's a momentum killer. He needs to reel himself in, and he saw an open buck in front of him with only one guy to go. And, why not drive the ball and see if he can draw a foul or something? But again, with a lack of size and a lack of confidence on the inside, he just doesn't take the easy shots.
Absolutely. Johnson now a 3 from the left wing for Pittsburgh. Off the back rim and a rebound by Joe Girard. Again, Pittsburgh struggles shooting that 3-point shot. Girard off to Braswell. Braswell now for 3-point. And oh my goodness, Marchak. Robert Braswell cannot be stopped right now. 3 3-pointers in the row. Timeout, Jeff Capel. Braswell's got a career high 12 points. How about this kid?
Yeah, this kid's feeling himself a little bit. That's 4 threes he's hit so far. Not afraid to get on the inside, but let me tell you, when he's outside of the arc, he is burning hot right now, Gio. Look at that shot. Same spot every time. Great ball movement. Syracuse slowing this game down right now, and seems like they're leaning a little bit on their young freshman right here in Robert Braswell.
The assist will go to Alan Griffin, but Robert Braswell's been money from downtown, sets himself up for a career high of 12 points, and there's still plenty of basketball left to be played. If you're Jim Boeheim, you're keeping that young man in the game. His playing time has been few and far between this season. We really thought he was buried on the depth chart at that forward position. A lot of people thought he was actually going to transfer before this season because he was so buried at that forward position, and they were bringing in a guy like Alan Griffin, and next year they're bringing in a sensational 5-star recruit in Benny Williams. So they really figured he was just so deep on the depth chart. Boeheim doesn't play very deep. He's able to ride it out. He's able to stick with the orange, loves the school, loves the team. And look at him. The opportunities have been few and far between, but tonight he's making the most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his shot is just so crisp, and he looks so comfortable at the arc. And again, that intangible of just feeling confident in yourself. And that's what leads to being 4 for 4 from 3. He has not missed a shot from outside of the arc.
Bobby B is unstoppable right now. Big buckets out of Bobby B inside the dome, and the lead has stretched once again for Syracuse just once Pitt started to pull that thing a little bit closer. Marchak, it's been a good one here for Syracuse in many phases of the ball. They've forced a lot of turnovers. They're rebounding the ball really well. They're shooting fairly well from the three-point arc. On the other side of the ball, it's been the opposite. They've turned the ball over a lot. They are struggling to rebound, and they cannot get these three-pointers to fall.
Yeah, I mean, obviously rebounding has been a struggle for Syracuse in recent history. As you said, against Rutgers, rebounding is kind of what led to that extra possession time that Rutgers needed in order to walk away with that win. And again, Syracuse needs guys on the inside who can rebound. That's why we're so fortunate to see Gary break out. He's easily my pick for the most improved player on this Syracuse roster. And so that dude is not afraid to rebound with 4 already tonight. But you can't forget Alan Griffin, who's all over the court with 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 8 points. So that guy's not been afraid to kind of really get to the ball whenever he needs to. He has that intangible, as I've mentioned before, of just really having that effort to dive for balls and stuff like that, which sometimes you see lacks in other players who maybe lack confidence or whatever it may be. And that's why you have to turn to the coaches and why they're such a staple with their organizations and how they reel in the correct properties in order for their players to really curate towards the right type of playing basketball. And, Boeheim's style of playing basketball is so unique and so, storied here in Syracuse, but really Braswell, the kid who's really kind of helped us lean on him tonight. And he's looking so crisp from the arc.
Absolutely. He hit 3 3-pointers in the row for Syracuse, and he made one earlier tonight as well. A great time, real quick, to announce. Again, we did it a couple days ago, our partnership with accessoryspot.com. They're very big on phone accessories, electronics, things like that. But we came up with a partnership, and they have now an Orange Heat line of T-shirts out. So go ahead to XESSORY spot.com and pick up your Orange Heat with Giovanni Heater and Accessory Spot t-shirt collab. So again, here's a look at the shirt. And go ahead and get yours at accessoryspot.com. Back to basketball we go here in Syracuse. And now 44-33 is the lead for the Orange. And everybody knows that's the lucky number here in Syracuse. Doesn't get better than that. And a foul on the interior. It looks like it's against Alan Griffin diving for the ball. So now Audice Tony will be inbounding it for Pittsburgh. 12:39 left on the clock here. The Orange up back by 11, leading now by double digits once more. And the inbound up to Johnson. Xavier Johnson's been the nice, bright spot for Pittsburgh here in this game, but reaching out was the freshman Kadary Richmond. A steal, transition game. Richmond nearly gets the 2 to go, but he will take 2 shots from the charity stripe. How about this guy? Led the ACC in steals per game before the hiatus happened a couple of weeks ago after that Buffalo game, but how about Kadary Richmond? He just uses his length. That's what Boeheim loves about him so much. It's that wingspan, a 6'5" kid with the wingspan of a center, and he just came out for that steal, no problem.
Yeah, and that's what I love about this deep Syracuse roster is just every guy has their own unique thing. Girard's a great 3-point shooter. Boeheim's well-rounded, within the 3-point arc, and Kadary Richmond, a steal guy, and obviously Braswell all of a sudden a 3-point shooter. So everyone has something they can lean on when they need to, and obviously these kids are really balling out right now.
45-33 now the lead for Syracuse as Kadary Richmond goes 1 for 1 from the line. 12:16 left to go here in the second half of action. Clock's starting to wind down here if you're Pittsburgh. Xavier Johnson, kick out to the left side. Another steal out of the freshman Kadary Richmond. Look at this kid go up to Joe Girard. Girard pulls up from the free throw line, and he hits. 47-33, blowing the roof off the dome are the Orange. 11:55 left to go, and it's back-to-back steals out of the freshman sensation, Kadary Richmond.
And that's execution right there. Great steal, kicking it back out to Girard, who had patience to pull up from the free throw line instead of a little 3-point shot as he usually does. So obviously patience is a virtue here later on in this Syracuse-Pittsburgh game right now.
Now a drive to the inside by Tony, and it's swatted away by Alan Griffin. Reaching out for it is Kadary Richmond off to Joe Girard, and Girard gets harshly fouled that time on the floor. Not a shooting foul. And how about the height of Alan Griffin? He saved the day with a block off the backboard against Buffalo at the end of regulation to force overtime. And he does it again with a big block there. He's a small forward. He really is. He's more honestly has the body of a shooting guard, to be quite honest with you. Not very tall at that forward position, but what he's able to do with it, the jump he has, he's a 6'5" forward. So, that's pretty average, but in a Syracuse setting, that's more of a guard, the way Boeheim likes to play with the zone. But he certainly makes an impact. A junior transfer now from Illinois. He's been great for Syracuse.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's just kind of a guy you didn't expect to really have such great execution defensively and offensively. I'd say he's easily one of the most well-rounded guys on the court. He's not afraid to finish on the inside. He can shoot from the arc if he needs to. And obviously, he's very good defensively. I'd say he's the next pick for the best stealer on the team, other than Kadary Richmond, of course. And that's why both of them are kind of long at their position. Obviously, Richmond, a 6'5" shooting guard. And, obviously, you can kind of see parallels between those two young men right there. So a lot of, physical attributes that you can credit for these steals and blocks that you're looking at right now for Syracuse.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, one more time, we'll bring it to you. Partnership with accessoryspot.com. Again, that's accessoryspot.com. You can pick up your orange sheet with Giovanni Heater shirt in collaboration with accessoryspot.com. So thank you to them. And you can go pick it up right there on accessoryspot.com. Pretty cool. They reached out, and it was a no-brainer, to say the least. So go pick up your orange sheet swag right there. But Marchak, we got a great game brewing up in the Dome. Syracuse looking to bounce back after this hiatus, put a win in the column for the ACC standings. And again, we talked about it, a victory today and a victory on Saturday against Georgetown could put Syracuse in a real good spot to be a top 25 basketball team. They received votes for the first time this week, which means they're right there. They're right on the brink. They're ranked 25th on the Ken Pom rankings. I really think that 2 wins this week would put Syracuse in that position.
Yeah, and the worry is with Syracuse, it's not a matter if they beat the big dogs, but if they lose to small dogs. And that's something that you worry about all the time. They almost dropped it against Buffalo, which is a team that's not necessarily going to be ranked anytime soon. And obviously, they need to execute in those games. And right now, I'm glad to see them start to walk away with this one. Of course, you can't count Pittsburgh out just yet. They have a lot of players who are still grinding, and Capel's really reeled them in well. So obviously this will be back and forth right until the end. But at the end of the day, Syracuse, if they walk away with 2 wins this week, I could certainly find them in the top 25 for sure.
Absolutely. And now Jeff Capel really trying to corral his team, get this team possibly back into this game. Syracuse pulling away with it, to say the least. And it looks like we're back to basketball here inside the Dome. Again, Syracuse playing against Georgetown this weekend. We'll bring you that game. Thinking about bringing the Buffalo Bills, Indianapolis Colts game, but we already have the Syracuse game that night. And part of me just kind of wants to watch it as a fan, to be honest. The first playoff game in Buffalo since 1995, but we'll see. But most likely our one broadcast of the day will be against Syracuse and Georgetown, and very excited to do so. A big one in the Dome, a rivalry game, typically a crowd of about 25 to 30,000. The Duke game will get up to 35, and that Georgetown is usually right there with about 25 to 30,000. So the Orange Beloved will certainly be missed, but everybody will be tuned in from home because it's primetime basketball. And here we go. 47-33 is the lead for the Orange. 13 and a half minutes to go. The Orange with the possession, and Girard with it on the left wing. Pittsburgh playing a tight man defense right now against the Orange, really pushing out across that arc, not trying to give up any kind of three-point opportunities for Syracuse. Kadary Richmond, a pump fake right wing, drives, and he hits a deep 2. Look at that play out of the freshman. How about Kadary Richmond? The pump fake, the drive, the step back, and just the pull-up. He looked confident.
Yeah, that's the name of the game for Richmond right there. Obviously, a guy who can create space, and then when he does, he capitalizes on it. And with that pump fake and then step in, he really got the shot that he needed to right there.
49-33 is the lead for Syracuse, and now able to get a bucket to go on the other side of the court for the Pitt Panthers, and a long quarterback type throw by, I believe it was Kadary Richmond trying to hit Alan Griffin. Griffin couldn't hit, stolen away by Joe Girard. That's a nice steal out of Joey G. Over to Alan Griffin, now Girard top of the key. Chaotic basketball going up and down the court here, and we're just trying to catch up and follow it. 49-35 is the lead for Syracuse, 10-20 to go. Girard to drive, now kicks it back out to Alan Griffin. Griffin, right side, Kadary Richmond for three, and off the front rim, no good. Richmond has struggled from downtown tonight, has yet to hit a three-pointer. And quickly going the other way is Xavier Johnson, unable to get that one to fall. And sharing the ball well are the Panthers. Offensive rebound down low. And a foul against Kadary Richmond when it's all said and done.
Yeah, Richmond, probably the only guy in the court who has struggled with his discipline thus far. Obviously, Guerrier's in foul trouble, so you won't see him on the court too much either, but just some small things he'll have to fix in order to stay at the level that his colleagues are right now.
49-35 is the score. Just under 10 minutes to go here inside the Dome. Xavier Johnson running the point at the top of the key for the Pitt Panthers, and Femi Udikale now in the game as well. Johnson, three-pointer from downtown, that time off the mark, and an offensive rebound down low nonetheless. And Udikale driving to the interior off his knee, and we'll wait the referee's call. It will stay here. Robert Braswell must have got a fingertip on it down low. William Jeffress, back-to-back offensive rebounds right now for Pittsburgh. So he's been a threat down low at the forward position. Only a freshman, but number 24, William Jeffress out of Erie, Pennsylvania, certainly getting some burn here in the late minutes of this game. 9.5 to play. And it looked like Tony thought about a three from the right wing, kick to the inside, and a bucket is good. It's not Jeffress down low this time. It's Abdul Kareem Coulibaly, and he finds his stroke, the sophomore out of Bamako, Mali, coming all the way to play college basketball in Pittsburgh. Absolutely fantastic. 12-point lead now for Syracuse. 9 minutes left to play, Kyle. If you're Syracuse, how are you just trying to put your gas or your foot on the gas, just continue this momentum and close out this game?
Well, with a guy like Girard in the game who's supposed to man this offense, I'd imagine that slowing it down a little bit, which Boeheim loves to do, will really kind of reel in the control. Not only does it tick away at the clock, but at the same time, you get a boost in efficiency because you have the time to think about what you're going to do instead of younger guys like even Braswell and especially Richmond who kind of rush on the ball and are a little tense at times. But, Richmond's really the guy that you have to worry about with that type of stuff.
It's a 12-point lead for Syracuse. Girard with it at the top of the key. Now 7 seconds left in the shot clock here for Syracuse. Girard, step back three, way off the mark, missed it all, hit the left side of the backboard, and an easy rebound now for Pittsburgh as they try and draw this thing within single digits. A three-pointer here for, I believe it was from the right side. Yep, it was Horton, and it was a triple for Horton again inside of single digits. Now it's a 9-point lead for Syracuse, 8.5 to play, and Pittsburgh won't quit.
Yeah, and that's one thing. The ball movement on Pittsburgh's side of the ball has been fantastic, and that's why they're spreading the wealth. Nobody in double digits yet in the points category.
Marchak, as we get into crunch time, it seems like more viewers are tuning in here to the game. 8.5 to play. Girard's going to take a seat on the bench. Syracuse leading this by 9, and it was a deep three for Horton. He had no problem with it. Kadary Richmond in at the point now for Syracuse. Robert Braswell back into the game. Alan Griffin, left side, a two-pointer from the elbow, and he gets it to go. What a bucket that time out of Alan Griffin. He's been fantastic all year for Syracuse, and he's really kept his foot on the gas tonight.
Yeah, Griffin and company have really fallen into a rhythm right here, and Syracuse will certainly feel that as they continue to roll on the offensive side of the ball.
Now a drive here. And Xavier Johnson puts up a deep three, but there's a foul called down low before the shot. So play will stop. Joe Girard doesn't look too happy on the bench, Kyle. His struggles have been evident this year. We've talked about it. And, it almost hurts to see his disappointed face like that. I'm a big Girard fan. I was coming into the year. Though he's been disappointing, it's tough to see a player struggle, right? It's never fun to see a player struggle.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, especially on a Syracuse roster. If it's a guy who Boeheim trusts to start every time, no matter what, you expect him to eventually improve. But right now you have to question that. Obviously, the more minutes he gets, it seems the more struggles he seems to find, unfortunately. So, but that's the thing. The more he plays, the more he'll trust his coach, who I'm sure he trusts so much. And Boeheim really does work wonders with his athletes, and that's why he's one of the best to ever do it. So he'll add to his skill set for sure. Boeheim likes to curate guards as guys who are well-rounded, like his son. Think about Buddy Boeheim. He can hit mid-range. He can drive if he needs to, and he can definitely shoot the three-point shot. And that'll go into Girard too. Once he learns how to drive the ball, I'm sure his confidence will get up. One thing I have noticed that is an improvement in him is he's not afraid to move the ball around. He's gotten more assists than usual today, and that's awesome to see. But again, he relies too much on that three-point shot. He's only 2 for 7 from the field past the three-point arc, and you just cannot, play with numbers like that, unfortunately. So obviously he'll try and improve his three-point shot, but at the end of the day, it's all about being well-rounded.
Absolutely. Now, NFL playoff football here coming up this weekend. As we mentioned, Kyle, some great matchups, the Bills and the Colts. You got the Ravens and the Titans, the Browns and the Steelers. And then on the other side, you have the Bears and the Saints. You got the Buccaneers and the Washington football team, and you got the Seahawks and the Rams. So NFL playoff football's here. We made our picks earlier. Both of us said Buffalo and Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. Josh Allen and Tom Brady going at it, but certainly exciting. I'm sorry your Miami Dolphins didn't make the cut, buddy. They had to either beat Buffalo or have Baltimore, Indianapolis, or Cleveland lose, and that situation just didn't end up working out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was definitely a ton of fun calling that game with you. Obviously, I try and put my broadcasting persona first, but it's so tough to watch the Dolphins fall in that manner. Obviously, the sports world in general is really at its peak right now, and the NFL is exemplary of that. They've really managed COVID so well. So it was great to watch all these games consistently with you and call a couple with them. And of course, a lot of things for the Dolphins to fix, but this is a Syracuse broadcast, so that's what we're concerned about today.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about Syracuse, the question is kind of, circling around Syracuse. Is this a bubble team this year, or are we finally over that hump? What are your thoughts? I'm, kind of under the belief that this team can score and the defense is improving. I think that they sit comfortably on Selection Sunday and they'll be heading to Indianapolis. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. I think, again, with that breaking news of Indianapolis being the host of it, that's awesome. And I think either way, Syracuse will find their way there. But for me personally, maybe I'm just too much of a pessimist. I think they might fall into that bubble team category again, as long as they don't have guys like Barama on the court, because they fall into foul trouble and there's just too many intangibles, like, they don't dive for balls and stuff like that, of course, but really foul trouble and sloppy plays that'll put them in that bubble spot.
Horton puts up a 3 from the left side, and basketball's back inside the dome. No good. Rebounded by Marek Dolezaj, and the lead still for Syracuse by 11, 51-40. Scoring hasn't been where it's been all season for Syracuse, but it really doesn't feel like they've struggled at all either. 51 points with 7.5 to play. Dolezaj hits the deck hard, gets it off to Braswell. Now top of the key, Boeheim for 3 off the back rim. Look at Alan Griffin come in. He tried to stuff that thing home on a putback. Man, was that close. He couldn't get it to go, but you have to think if he just would have tipped that in, it would have been 2 points. But at the same time, if he would have been able to palm that basketball, you're talking about a SportsCenter top 10 type of play. This kid's an athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that kid is, for his size especially, at 6'5", it's not easy, no matter who you are, to get all the way up there. And dude, man, can this kid probably touch the top of the backboard, it looks like sometimes. Super athletic squad. There's no denying that.
Alan Griffin, everybody knows the transfer from Illinois. 7:23 left to go here in the ball game, and heading to the free throw line is Xavier Johnson. First free throw is up and good. So it was an and one for Xavier Johnson, and 51-41 is the lead now for Syracuse by just 10, 7:16 left to go. And it wasn't an and one. We must have missed the first free throw here. Foul off the ball. And driving to the tin now is Kadari Richmond. Kick out Buddy Boeheim, top of the key. Now Dolezaj on the inside, trying to drive into the paint, trying to get that spin to go. Off to Alan Griffin. Griffin, a fadeaway 2 from the ACC logo, and he's sensational with that stroke.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why Dolezaj is our assist leader. Watch him, in that spin move, like I said, Pascal Siakam-esque type of guy offensively. He likes to turn around and read the court, and then he saw Griffin dashing in, and that's an easy assist for Dolezaj as well. So these guys really read the court well, even if it's from the inside.
Now Pittsburgh sharing it well. Horton a three from the left side, and don't count out the Panthers just yet. The game's back within 9 with 6:27 left to play. Clock continues to wind, and that was a big shot out of Horton on the left side. 44-53, 6:15 now left in the game. Drive to the inside, Dolezaj, and that one's swatted off the backboard down low, but it's a foul on the floor. So Dolezaj should be not heading to the free throw line. I don't believe it was a shooting foul just yet. I believe it'll be an inbound here for Syracuse. We'll see what the official call is. Alan Griffin having a conversation with his head coach, Jim Boeheim. And Dolezaj is headed to the free throw line, so they did give him the benefit of the doubt there. Ethel Horton is the guilty party, fouling Dolezaj in what I guess was the act of shooting. Dolezaj's first free throw is up and good. So the lead by 10 for Syracuse, 6:12 left to play in the ball game. Dolezaj's second free throw is money. So an 11-point lead once again for the Orange, 55-44, 6:09 left to play here inside the dome. Horton with it on the left wing. Looking for Xavier Johnson. Pass to the middle and some miscommunication as Dolezaj is the only man around that ball to take it away. Lots of turnovers for Pittsburgh today. Braswell, deep right corner three and off the mark. Braswell couldn't get that one to hit. If he hit his fourth in a row, I don't know what I would have done. There would have been an oh my goodness coming, to say the least.
Absolutely. And that's his first missed three of the night, but still looking confident is Braswell.
And a three here from the right corner for Pittsburgh is way off the mark. Not even close. An air ball from Femi Odekale, but an offensive rebound. And a triple here from the right wing this time. Getting it to go is Audice Toney. And Pittsburgh back within 8 now. 55-47 is the lead for Syracuse. 5:17 left to go here in the second half. Timeout by Jim Boeheim. He wants to talk things over. 3-point field goals have really fairly been a struggle for both teams. 35% for Syracuse, 24% out of Pittsburgh. But down the stretch, that's Pittsburgh hitting a couple big ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Pittsburgh really just moving the ball a lot better than Syracuse right now. With guys like Girard at the top of the key for Syracuse, you're not going to get a ton of assists, although he has more than usual today. And so the ball movement's just looking so key for Pittsburgh, and they just totally split up that 2-3 zone of Syracuse. So it started to look really sloppy at the end of that possession where they got a couple of rebounds. And so if they continue to do that, I think Pittsburgh will walk away with this one.
And 5:15 left to go here. Syracuse up by 8. Both teams talking it over as the referee's calling for them to break the huddles. Just a quick 30-second timeout. And Alan Griffin taking the court once again for Syracuse. Xavier Johnson's been the leading man for Pittsburgh down the stretch. And ball inbounded here. Syracuse the possession. Girard back in the game running the point. Off the Dolezaj right wing. Now Buddy Boeheim top of the key. Deep three for Joe Girard and off the mark. Again, Marchak. I mean, that might have been 8 seconds into the shot clock, but it didn't feel very necessary.
Yeah, I mean, slowing down the game is all Syracuse needs right now to get better shots, and the efficiency is just extremely poor right now.
And a foul on the inside against Robert Braswell. Audice Toney was the one going up to try and make the bucket count. No bucket, but he will take a trip to the free throw line for 2. And Braswell just coming up behind him. Yeah, there's a lot of arm there and not a lot of ball. So foul on Robert Braswell, and now 2 free throws here, a chance to get this game within 6 for Audice Toney. First one off the front rim and out, so the closest they can get is within 7.
Yeah, one thing you can definitely notice is that Pittsburgh not disciplined enough to really hit all of their free throws. They've struggled with that definitely tonight.
And now instantly out of the game is Robert Braswell. Quincy Guerrier back into the ball game for Syracuse. Hitting the second one was Audice Toney, 55-48 now your score. 450 left to play, I should say. Dolezaj top of the key. Screen set by Guerrier. Now passes it to the outside, Girard. Now Alan Griffin fading away. Deep three, nearly got it to go. Off the mark. Rebound here, Pittsburgh. Xavier Johnson in transition, moving the other way. No choice but to slow things down, but a nice drive here and a 2-pointer off the mark. Rebound, Quincy Guerrier. Trying to get that one to go for Pittsburgh was Femi Odekale, and off the mark it went. Quincy Guerrier out to Joe Girard, and with 4:16 left and 20 seconds in the shot clock, Girard certainly taking his time. Guarded here by Odekale, hits Boeheim. Boeheim with that cut, and then that jumper from the free throw arc. That's his signature shot here in a Syracuse jersey, and he does it so well. Did it again right there, struck quickly, and the Orange back up to a 9-point lead.
Yeah, Boeheim turning around, and he's just so crisp with that shot, up and over. He's looking really clean right now.
Moving the ball well is Pittsburgh. Odekale a drive. Now kick out to Horton left side. Horton a couple of pump fakes. Xavier Johnson a three-pointer off the mark, and no foul is called. Johnson tried to hit the deck and sell it for a foul. Odekale a couple of offensive rebounds of his own. Quincy Guerrier just intelligently putting his arms up in the air, not trying to give up any kind of foul there. And again, Odekale able to get a bucket to go. So a 7-point lead for Syracuse, 3:17 left to go. Smart play out of Guerrier. Three-pointer here, Joe Girard. And that one, again, off the mark. Girard cannot find the lid off the bucket tonight. 57-50 is the lead. Rebound here by Johnson. Going the other way are the Panthers, and a dish to the inside with a fantastic bucket for Pittsburgh. And it was Terrell Brown, the senior out of Providence, Rhode Island, getting it to go. We got a 5-point ball game. Alan Griffin, step back three, air ball, rebound Merrick Dolezaj. Couldn't get the putback to fall, and a 5-point game. Now Pittsburgh has it going the other way. Brown on the inside, couldn't get it to go. Dolezaj, tough defense, and will stay on this end of the court. What a series of events. And just like that, this game's within 5.
Yeah, I mean, what a series of events. That's a good way of summarizing it. This game's back and forth right now, and really a lack of foul trouble is what I've noticed. All these guys disciplined enough to keep their hands up, although Guerrier is back on, and of course he's a guy we need, but he had foul trouble early, and he's stuck with 3. So obviously only 2 to go until we really have to worry about him. And so obviously both guys on both sets of these teams right now really playing their asses off up and down the court. So we'll see how this turns out. But right now, I think it's down to discipline. And obviously the shot selection is always questionable on Syracuse's side of the ball. So we'll see how that turns out on both sides. But right now, Pittsburgh rolling a little bit as Syracuse struggles to execute in the inside.
Yeah, Marchak, I was just thinking the other day, I can't wait for the next time we get you down here in the basement, and then we get to call a game together in person. Did it once before we really shut down again and decided that Zoom was probably our best bet to do this. I haven't seen friends or family in just about 2 months, and I know you are definitely doing your part as well. So definitely Zoom. We're lucky to have it. We're very grateful to have it. Zoom Pro is fantastic, but can't wait to get you back down in the studio, and we can call another one in person again. And then even more so, I can't wait till hopefully, I don't think, keeping fingers crossed for high school basketball, but maybe in the spring, we're back in the stadium at Michael J. Bragman Stadium calling some CNS games. There's nothing better than being in person with the small crowds there were this fall. I mean, I know you weren't there, but I can't tell you how special it was last football season. There was nothing like it with a full crowd and just so much energy and buzz. That's why we love what we do. And down here in the basement, it's not necessarily the same, but we love doing it nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and again, thank you for that. And I'm really looking forward to coming back into your studio. It's such a nice setup. Obviously, I'll have to get some colors behind me soon enough as a big Orange fan as well. And with my own production over here with Small Talk Podcasts too. But Orange Heat is just such a fun production to be a part of. Obviously, your connections with Accessory Spot is pretty dope too. And so, just 2 kids, working for a dream, I guess, is the only way of summarizing it. And it's odd just how unique this season has been in sports for even when I was playing soccer just a few months ago and up until now. You kind of realize now is the best time to really capitalize in all this free time to kind of pursue this broadcasting world. And, we're lucky enough to have Syracuse basketball for that.
Absolutely, Marchak. Give another plug to your podcast you got going. I know you got some other buddies on there. You talk a lot of sports, but you also talk a lot of things like music. I know you recorded 2 podcasts today. You're a busy man today in the broadcasting world, as Wednesday is kind of our, not off day, but our off day from school a little bit. So definitely be sure to plug that again right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Small Talk Podcast. There's definitely a ton of accounts called that. But if you look up Small Talk Podcasts or Small Talk Music Cast, you'll see some stuff with me and my friend Trevor Starr. I just got a buddy of mine named Aham that I'm looking forward to getting on there. And so a ton of music talk and sports talk as well. Our Swaggy Sports episode, Small Talk Podcast, if you look it up.
Absolutely. And a lob to the inside, Marchak. We have a 3-point ball game. Terrell Brown with the slam. 2:25 left to go on the clock, and Syracuse only leads by 3. What a comeback it's been by Jeff Capel and his team with Pittsburgh, and Syracuse trying to be intelligent with the ball. Alan Griffin a drive. Got it poked away for a second. Tried to pass it to the interior to Quincy Guerrier, and it was swatted away. Not necessarily the easiest pass in the world. And Syracuse just looks a little bit depleted right now. They got to get things together here. That was a great drawn up play by Jeff Capel out of the timeout, and Xavier Johnson with an easy lob to Terrell Brown on the inside. Girard now with a 2, fading away. Couldn't get it to go. And a rebound here by Audice Toney. Back over to Horton, and now trailing by 3. Here comes Pittsburgh. Deep 3, Xavier Johnson, and we got a tied game in the Dome. Xavier Johnson hit that one all the way from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Unbelievable. And it's 57 all. Timeout, Jim Boeheim. 1:49 left to go in the Dome, Marchak.
Yeah, all of a sudden the execution of Pittsburgh has really picked up. You know, we were leaning on Braswell earlier to hit those big 3-point shots that separated us, but all of a sudden our production has gone downhill as we cannot finish on the inside, and all of a sudden Pittsburgh back with us. I was going to mention, you can't forget, meanwhile, it's a one-possession game, but all of a sudden we're all tied up. So now it really is down to the execution, which Syracuse statistically has had the better hand of when we're talking about outside of the arc and really just shots in general. The shot making's been better on Boeheim's side, but you can't forget Capel's squad is playing better and better as these minutes tick by. So both teams, a lot of different things to worry about, but both teams leaning on some of their shooting right now.
You know, just as well as I do, it doesn't matter if you miss every shot during the game. If you hit the game winner, that's all that matters, right? That was a huge shot that time out of Xavier Johnson, and we got a tie game inside the Dome, 57 all. It's been kind of a low-scoring affair when you look at it, you know, compared to what Syracuse has done all year. Only 57 points thus far, but you kind of have to expect that coming out of a 2-week hiatus, and you're playing against an ACC opponent. This would be a big win for Pittsburgh, and this would be a really detrimental loss for Syracuse considering Champagne's not in the game. Pittsburgh is not led at all today. Now this is a tie for the first time since it was 0-0. And this would be a detrimental loss to Syracuse considering Pittsburgh doesn't have 3 scholarship players on the court.
Absolutely. I mean, and the coaches poll will definitely notice that. So this will definitely hurt if Syracuse can't pull away with it right now. I'd imagine now getting back on the court is Guerrier, and they'll definitely start to lean on him as he's kind of been their guy. Him and Griffin have been our points leaders thus far. And it's just tough with a guy like Girard in the court who struggles to get the assist off. Dolezaj inbounding right there. And so obviously a lot of different guys that we can turn to here, but I think Guerrier will be the key as these final minutes tick away.
Syracuse has made 1 of their last 8 field goals, and it's been a big run for Pittsburgh. 57 all in the Dome, 1:36 left to play. Syracuse has 15 seconds on the shot clock. Dolezaj top of the key, off to Alan Griffin, left wing. Griffin with a step back, lets a 3-pointer fly. Highly contested, but Alan Griffin doesn't care. A big 3-pointer that time out of the Illinois transfer, and it's back to a 3-point ball game, leading it for Syracuse. 1:16 left to go. Alan Griffin. Now Pittsburgh moving with it the other way. Xavier Johnson, top of the key, running the show. Pass to the inside. Odakale lets a 2-pointer go from the ACC logo, and nothing but net from Odakale. 1-point advantage for the Orange. Inside a minute to play, 60-59, and the cardiac cues are in full effect once again.
Yeah, I'm all too used to it, Gio.
47 seconds on the clock. Girard running the point. No Kadary Richmond in the ball game, and you see your starting lineup at this point. Top of the key, Alan Griffin, another deep one off the back rim. No good. Rebounded by Xavier Johnson, and Pittsburgh moving quickly in transition. Xavier Johnson tried to get to the tin, and Alan Griffin sent that thing flying out of bounds. What a block on the inside by Alan Griffin. He's so good at doing that. Look at his leap only a 6'5" guy playing the forward spot, and he got all the way up to the moon with that swat. And it's not the first time he's done that in a clutch moment this year.
Absolutely, Gio. Similar to Richmond, he's just so long in his position, gets up and he swatted that one into the second deck, it looked like. And I mean, that's just an emphatic play, quiet confidence in that young man right now. And Boeheim, time to reel these guys in with only 30 seconds to go.
And the viewers keep pouring in, Kyle. Everyone knowing that the cardiac cues are in full effect. I guess they want to see what we have to say about it. They're showing the replay here right now on the ACC network of that swat off the backboard for Alan Griffin that took that game against Buffalo into overtime. It was a big play out of AG. That's really the reason Syracuse was able to win that game and pull away in the overtime period. Without that block, that opportunity is not there.
Yeah, and if you look at his performance against Buffalo, 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks. He's just such a well-rounded player, similar to Gary in that sense that both those guys can really do everything. And Boeheim, a guy like that as well. Just so much talent on this roster, yet they're just underperforming today. I mean, not to mention that Boeheim's like 2 for 10 from 3 today. So he's actually the worst 3-point shooter on the court, despite what it looks like with Girard being the guy who pulls up with questionable shot selection. So you have to wonder who they're going to lean on here in these final seconds.
1 point game. Syracuse leads it 60-59 with 29.4 seconds left on the clock. Alan Griffin coming up big, hit a shot, a 3-pointer to pull this thing back to a 3-point advantage. And then he had that big block, but Pittsburgh has the ball here and Xavier Johnson's running the show at the top. Off to Audis Toney on the left side, back to Johnson, back to Toney. 19 seconds left, 13 on the shot clock for Pittsburgh. Xavier Thomas, top of the key. He gets a screen from Brown. Thomas driving to the inside, kicks it out. 3-pointer here for Hinton, off the mark and tipped in. The lead for Pittsburgh on the inside. It's their first one of the day. 8 seconds left to go. Brown was the one to tip it in. Now 5 seconds to go. Timeout, Jim Boeheim, and Syracuse is in trouble. A 1-point lead for Pittsburgh. They have not led the entire game. But with 9 seconds left, they get that advantage. And the tip in here, it was actually Audis Toney who tipped it in on the inside. The bench exploded, and Syracuse has been pretty good rebounding the ball all day. But at the end of the game is when it matters, and Toney did it best. It's a 1-point lead for Pittsburgh now, 61-60. Offensive rebounds, 20 of them for Pittsburgh, 8 offensive rebounds for Syracuse. That's almost unacceptable, Marchak. 20 offensive rebounds?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would just say that is, unacceptable. 21 second chance points for Pittsburgh. Syracuse, only 3. So obviously that's a huge statistic to look at right there. Syracuse has just not gotten enough boards in order to create more opportunities for themselves. And so, Boeheim writing up definitely the biggest play of the game tonight with 5 seconds to go. You can kind of see his heart is beating out of his chest, and so is mine.
5.2 left on the clock. Syracuse led by 18 with 4 minutes left in the first half. They led by double digits most of the second half, but it doesn't matter. 61-60 is the lead. Syracuse to inbound. 5.2 seconds left. The cardiac cues in full effect. Dolezaj just trying to find someone to give the ball to, and he turns it over. Xavier Johnson with it, and Syracuse has no choice but to foul. Dolezaj couldn't find anybody to get the ball to. Fantastic defense out of Pittsburgh. And now going to the free throw line will be Xavier Johnson with 2.8 on the clock. It's not looking good in the Dome if you're Syracuse.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could tell as the 5 seconds ticked away, the opportunity crumbled. And you have to wonder who was supposed to cut and get open. Pittsburgh with a great job of defense right there, staying with their man. Griffin was supposed to be the guy it looked like. And then Boeheim cut in, but that's when Dolezaj had to get rid of the ball. So again, Pittsburgh with a great defensive stand right there. And that may as well have just won them the game.
Johnson's at the free throw line. 2.8 seconds left here on the clock. 61-60 is the lead. If he hits both of them, it's a 1-for-1. It's a 1-for-1. And first one is up and good. So if he hits another one, Syracuse will be down by 3. They'll just have to heave it down the court and hope for the best at that point. Up by 2 is Pittsburgh, 62-60. This is their first lead of the game. Xavier Johnson, second one is good. So Syracuse will call a timeout here. Down by 3, 63-60, 2.8 seconds left. You have to make the inbound go a long way, right? You can't inbound it at the at this 3-point shot line or what, you can't inbound it on this side of the court, right? You have to get that long inbound, hope someone's able to make a good catch and turn around and shoot, because with 2.8 seconds, I mean, you're looking at, if not a half quarter, if not longer. You have to get a long quarterback type throw. Kyle, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could try and get that ball deep, but I've seen it before with Boeheim. At the end of the day, I'm going to have to think back to Tyler Ennis, who on the first ranked Syracuse team cut down a 25th ranked Pittsburgh squad.
Yeah.
So this is looking all too familiar. Not, knock on wood, not to jinx anything here, but you've seen it before with Syracuse. Let's see what they drew up right here.
The difference is we're not 20-0. but 2.8 seconds left to go. Here's Dolezaj to inbound. This is it for Syracuse. Up to Alan Griffin. Griffin from half court, and it is.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
Almost. Alan Griffin almost sent it into overtime. And Syracuse falls in the dome. It's their first ACC loss of the season, and it falls to Pittsburgh. And Syracuse led the game the entire way and couldn't close out down the stretch. Pittsburgh, a terrific comeback. Leading the way for the Panthers had to be Xavier Johnson. Alan Griffin had one last gasp at it. They turned it over on the inbound with 5 seconds left to go on the right side of the court, where you want to be. That would have been a much more favorable shot, but they turned it over. Dolezaj couldn't get to. Looked like Griffin was the intended receiver. Johnson hits 2 free throws, 2.8 left. Syracuse couldn't make it happen. Griffin, though, that shot was close at the buzzer from half court.
Absolutely. That's heartbreaking as a Syracuse fan for sure. I can't imagine how everyone at home feels. So Griffin, he got a shot off on the way, but he just couldn't get it. So at the end of the day, better execution down the stretch for Pittsburgh. And you have to wonder what's on the minds of these Syracuse players. Again, beginning to look like a bubble squad if they don't continue to get wins that they should walk away with.
Yeah, Pittsburgh was depleted today, right? They were without 3 of their scholarship players, including their best player out there in Champagne. Just not a good day for Syracuse, right? Coming out of that hiatus, low scoring, led the entire way and just gave it up at the end. Didn't see Brahma Sidibe today. Guerrier didn't have his best game. And, if you're a Syracuse fan, it's disappointing to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, you could point to all sorts of different factors. Girard's lack of athleticism on the inside, Boeheim's 3-point shooting, as well as Girard's questionable shot selection. But at the end of the day, it was execution, and Dolezaj, not necessarily his fault, but just couldn't get that ball off. And that was really a shot, and our only shot to actually walk away with the win. Because after that, obviously the odds go way down with only 3 seconds. You're going to have to hit an incredible shot. So Griffin, really a valiant effort down the stretch. But at the end of the day, Syracuse beginning to look a lot more like a bubble squad.
Syracuse was up by 18 at one point in this game. Pittsburgh comes all the way back to close it out. It's a 63-60 victory for the Pittsburgh Panthers. Syracuse drops to 6-2 on the season. Pittsburgh now 6-2 as well. And we'll take a look at some of the stats here on the box score before we let you go. For Pittsburgh, leading the way, it was Horton with 14 points. He went 5 for 14 and 4 for 10 from 3. All in all, for Pittsburgh, it was 25.9% from the 3-point arc and 34.9% from the field. And again, in the second half, coming up big, you had to give credit to Xavier Johnson, finished with 10 points. Just an all-around good team effort in that comeback for Pittsburgh. And then for Syracuse, leading the way in scoring, it was Alan Griffin. He went 6 for 15 and 3 for 8 from 3-point range. He had 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. Guerrier, only 3 points and 5 rebounds. Certainly not the performance everyone had hoped out of him. Marek Dolezaj, 9 points, 3 for 5 from the field. Girard had 8 points, 2 for 8 from 3, 3 for 11 from the field. Boeheim, 2 for 10 from 3, 3 for 12 for the field with only 8 points. So Girard and Boeheim really struggled as well. Richmond, 5 points and 12 points out of Robert Braswell. He went 4 for 5 for 3 and 4 for 7 from the field. Syracuse, 37% from the field and 32% from the 3. Kind of an ugly game on both sides. Pittsburgh ends up with a 63-60 victory. Kyle, your closing remarks. Who would you give your flame of the game to from Syracuse? Who was your best player despite the loss?
Well, I mean, I thought the effort was just fantastic from Griffin all night. And, despite the loss, he was the guy that they trusted to hit that final shot if he could. And so that says a lot about what Boeheim thinks about him. And it definitely says a lot about what I think of him. He definitely has the highest roof out of all those players in that starting lineup. So that's my flame of the game for sure.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. And coming in at second, Robert Braswell, just because he did have a nice explosion there, but wasn't as big of a part of the game as Alan Griffin, especially in the rebounding category. Braswell 1 rebound, and Alan Griffin had led the way with 8 of them. And just looking at it too, Braswell didn't play the same kind of minutes as Alan Griffin did either. So nonetheless, it's a 63-60 win for Pittsburgh here. Kyle, your final thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the lack of performance from Quincy Guerrier has definitely impacted the squad. So I think that'll be big to see how he comes back. And obviously Griffin, a guy who just seems to be like a man possessed sometimes. He just performs outside of himself, but in a positive manner. So, Guerrier's lack of performance, and of course our backcourt duo, almost non-existent tonight. So that definitely damages the way that we function offensively. So once we get back into rhythm, I think Syracuse will begin to look a lot more like the team that's supposed to be easily finding themselves into the tournament. Otherwise, you hate to see them fall into their old bubble ways.
And if you're Syracuse, you're on to Georgetown, and so are we. We'll see you on Saturday night as the Syracuse Orange play host to the Georgetown Hoyas inside the Carrier Dome. An exciting one here on Orange Heat, a rivalry matchup. Kyle Marchak, I can't wait to see you then.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it, Gio.
All right, so for Kyle Marchak, I'm Giovanni Heater, and we'll see you next time. 63-60, the final in the Dome, Pittsburgh over Syracuse. We'll see you on Saturday.